Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner, and we are going to do a fun family project for Day of the Dead. I love to do this particular uh, celebration because it's just fun. We get to do something that's fun. And this time I've seen some pictures of something I thought was really cute, and I put my own spin on it. And we are going to make one of these little Day of the Dead pendants. So it doesn't really take anything special. You'll need 24 gauge wire, a little bit of chain, just a small millimeter chain, 3x4, 2x3, whichever works for you. That's what size the links should be. You'll need some, what am I thinking? I already said 24 gauge wire chain, some head pins, what else? One jump ring, only one. And I'm going, oh, and one of those little um, sugar skull or skull beads and a rose bead. That's what I'm using to make this because it is a specific type of piece. I'm also going to be using some um, seed beads. Now, I always use the little rose because I see that in all the pictures of anything that you do, any piece of jewelry that I've seen that has the Day of the Dead theme with the skull, usually has a rose with it. But someone told me about marigolds, which something I did not know, which was that they're a symbol. Thank you, Rhonda. I really appreciate knowing that because, okay, I wrote it down. So I looked it up, and marigolds are supposed to be the flower of the dead. And it said that their fragrance guides souls through the Mexican underworld. I'm reading through the Mexican underworld and from their burial place to their family homes. I love that. I did not have any idea about that. So I really appreciate that little bit of information. Thank you very much. So we're going to use I have some little seed beads and a couple of little crystals that we're going to use. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with all that. And we'll just put it all together. So I'm going to run through that again. 24 gauge wire, chain, um, head pins, one jump ring, seed beads, a little sugar. Oh, I just said it. I can't remember. One of those little, sugar skulls or just a skull bead. They're usually acrylic. I have some crystal ones too, but one of those little skull beads and one of those little rose beads. You'll need and you're going to need some kind of a shaping tool. I'm just using this little ink pen. You can use a round pencil. It doesn't need to be too big, not as long as it's not too big. And you're also going to need some cord. I'm using some little waxed cotton cord. That's it. And you're going to need your usual tools, your round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around, and they start bigger at the bottom and taper all the way up to the tip until they're just a little bit smaller, almost at a point. Then we have our square nose pliers. They're slightly rounded on the outside. And they're flat on the inside. When you're buying these, make sure that they don't have those little ridges or grips on the inside because that will damage your wire. They're also tapered. They start wider at the bottom and they taper up to almost a point at the top. You will need wire cutters. They do exactly that. They cut wire. And again, you'll need a little cylindrical item. I'm just using this little cross pin. That's it. Let's go ahead and get down here to the mat and get started on. Okay, we're going to start with our cord, and I've got this little cotton cord, and I took 2 yards and I cut it into as many little 5 inch pieces as I could. I had a little one left over that I unfortunately can't do anything with, but I cut it into as many 5-inch pieces of cord as I could. So you want to make sure that the little ends are as close together as possible. You want them all the same, in the same place. You just want them even. Oh, get back in there. As even as you can get them. So get that. Go to the other side. And let's see what we've got. Let's bring it down. Just get that as even as you can. Come on, get up there. Get up there with the rest. Okay, that's good. That's good enough. That's good enough. And then you're going to have your 24 gauge wire. I have one, what is this, 10-inch piece, I think. Or is it 8 inches? One 80-inch piece of wire. And we're going to take that, we're going to take our little strands all together. And we're going to string this on right in the middle. So the middle of our wire and the middle of our strands. Just bring that around, cross one side over the other. And all I'm doing is creating a placeholder here. I'm just securing it. Let's check and make sure that's in the middle. Yes, that's good. There we go. Yes. Nice and secure. And then I'm going to wrap one of the wires around the other one time, just to hold it in place. Just holding it in place. One wrap. That's it. There, stay put. Stay. All right. Now, let's fold that over. And then I'm going to have a 6-inch piece of wire that I'm going to wrap around at the top, about a 1/2 inch from the top. So I've got my little 6-inch piece, and right in the center of my wire, I'm going to put that on my little strands, and I'm going to wrap that around. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either do it this way and wrap it around, or you can wrap it around this pin several times and then slide it on. I've done it both ways. They both work. So you can either do that, you can wrap it around directly on the strands, or you can go right in the center of your wire and wrap it around your ink pen a couple of times on one side, and then go to the other wire and wrap that around a couple of times. Until you have a little coil. And that's what I have. So now I have a little coil. So again, you can wrap it directly around the strands, or you can wrap it around something else. And then slide it down over the two wires at the top and onto your strands. Either one works. I've done them both. So do what is more comfortable for you. And there we have it. So now I want to tighten this because I don't want it sliding. So I'm going to tighten that bottom one up. So hold on to your rings and just pull on the bottom and on the top. And if you need to, grab your pliers. Again, I'm holding the rings and I'm tightening those ends. Nice and snug, just like that. And you can also use your fingers and just kind of twist it to get it a little tighter. Let's tighten. Here we go. Nice and tight. I'm just pulling on both ends. There. And once I've got it tight enough so that it's not sliding around, which it isn't now, I'm going to take the ends. I want a good inch on each end, 1 inch. And then I'm going to take the bottom one and wrap it around the top one. So I'm going to hold on to the bottom wire strand and I'm going to bring that up and wrap it nice and snug around the top one. Until I have a loop, just like that. And then I'm going to take the other one and follow this one around the same direction. And under the first one. Then I'm going to take the first one and follow that one around. They're just kind of chasing each other. And all I'm making is a little rose right in the center of my wire. And just keep going until I run out of wire. Or until it's as big as you want it to be. And I'm just wrapping the wire around itself. I'm not making it tight because I want it to be a nice little built up rose when I finish. So I'm spiraling around itself, the wire around itself. And when it gets too short that you can't really use your fingers anymore. Just switch to your pliers and continue wrapping. Yeah, let's use these. Easier to grip round wire. And then when you get to where it's too short to wrap anymore, just put a little loop at the end, just a half loop, just enough so that you can take that little tip and push it under the other wires. Just the tip. So it's not sticking out and ready to do your skin damage. Do the same thing with the other one. Just curve it under and push that tip under the other wires. So this is what we have so far. And then we're going to go to the top, straighten anything out. I have a little rogue wire there that doesn't want to conform. Just tug it down until they're all in place, like so. Let's turn you straight. Maybe that's better. Okay, so now I'm going to unwrap this top wire. That's why I said only wrap it once, one time. Oh, before I do that, leave that there. I'm going to grab my chain. I have 2 inches of chain here. You don't need much, 2 inches. And I'm just going to cut it in half. So find the halfway point. If you want to count your links, you can do that, or you can just hold it up until you find the halfway mark. Or the link. There we go. That's about halfway. And let's cut that off. Now, I'm going to put my hand over it because these little shards of the little chain will go everywhere if I don't control it. So put my hand around it and cut so that all those little shards there, they didn't go anywhere. Otherwise, they will end up all over the place. And then I do that just to make sure all the little shards are off. There we go. So now I've got these 2 little pieces of wire. There's that last piece. I knew there was more of that little circle there. Okay, so I'm going to unwrap my wire. I'm going to hold it in place, but I'm going to unwrap it. There we go. And then I'm going to take one of my little pieces of chain and string it on one side of my wire, the very last link, just string that on. And then the other one I'm going to string on the other piece of wire. So I have one on both sides. And just thread that until it's hanging down on the sides. Get down there. I might need to get that little kink out. If it's not a big kink in there, you might not need to bother with that, but I'm going to straighten that out a little bit more so that I can get my chain on. There. Now slide that last link on and down that side. Did I put it on the same side? I did. other side. That's where I want to go. Okay, so now I have one on both sides. Just like that, one on each side. Yeah. Move this up. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I lost one. Where'd it go? Oh, fell off. Get back on there. It's a crazy project. The right side? Of course it isn't. Okay, there we go. So now I have one of those little things on both sides. You probably see where I'm going with this. These are her little arms. Okay, so I have one piece of wire, one piece of chain on each one of my wires. So now I'm going to rewrap the wire. So the one side is going to be pointing straight up, and the other side is going to wrap around the other wire. So I'm going to wrap this around. Just a few times. And I only want to wrap about 1/4 of an inch of wire. I'm creating a little neck. There we go. And I'm going to go back down just to build it up a little more. Give you a little hint, it's going to be a skeleton, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Just enough to create a little neck. There we go. There's my little neck. There. And now I can just cut the rest of that off because I didn't need anymore. So cut that as close as you can get to those wraps. Rid of that excess. Then take your square pliers and that little sharp tip that's sticking up there, just push that down as close as you can get to those other wires. And if you're really good, you should be able to squeeze it down in between the other wires so that you don't feel it. Nice. Now, let's bring out our little skull. I picked a purple one. And let's slide it on my little neck. You see where I'm going with this? Bring this up a little further. And then let's get our little hat. Let me get our little ruse. Ah, isn't she cute so far? We're not finished. Okay, so now I just need to make a little bail so that you can put this on a chain or on a cord. So what I'm going to do is bend my wire. It depends on what you want to do. If I bend my wire front to back to the front of my little face and wrap it so that the hole is on the side, you can just string it through a piece of wire or a chain. If you do it from side to side, you can add a jump ring to put it on a piece of chain or a cord. I'm going to go ahead and string that front to back, make it simple. So I'm going to make a loop that goes front to back so that my opening is on the side. So I bent the wire back like so. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And I'm going to give myself a nice big loop so I can put it on anything. I want to be able to slide it on anything. So I'm going to give myself a nice big loop. So I'm going to go 3/4 of the way back on my pliers. I'm going to bring that tail of wire over the top of my pliers and down until it's resting parallel to the rest of my beads here. Then I'm going to hold on to my beads and my wire so that it doesn't shift. I'm going to open my pliers up and reposition them out of the way and clamp back down, and then bring that wire under the pliers until I have a loop, like so. And I have a little bit of space there that I don't want, so I'm going to go back and rotate my loop until it's on top of my bead, until it's as close as I can get to my bead. There we go. And now I'm going to switch to my square pliers, and I'm going to wrap that loop closed. Just wrap it around. Give yourself at least 2 wraps and build it up as much as you want. So now my loop is closed. Let's get everything turned correctly. Yes. And now I'm going to cut that tail of wire off because I don't need it. Get rid of that excess. And then this little tip, I'm going to push it down until the tip is in between the rest of my wraps and not poking out. So we are like 2/3 of the way done with our little lady. Isn't she cute? She's all dressed up with places to go. She may be dead, but she's not hanging around in the tomb doing nothing. She's living her best afterlife. You see what I did there? Okay, so silly. So now, what do? She's all dressed and ready, but we want to do something with her little arms. They're just hanging down at the side like they have nothing better to do, but they do. They need to be holding something. So now that's where my little, get down there. That's where my jump ring comes in. So I'm going to grab my jump ring and open it. Now, the proper way to open any jump ring is to find the split, the little opening, which is right here. Put your pliers on one side of the split. Grab another pair of pliers on the other side of the split and twist. That's one way to do it. Or put one pair of pliers on one side, put your thumb on the other, and twist. Or you can use both fingers and just twist. Fingers on both hands. You can put your fingers on both sides and twist. That is how you open a jump ring properly. So now I'm going to string my jump ring through the last loop of my chain on each side. So let's catch that. Come on, get in there. There we go, there's one. And then grab the other one and thread that through. And let's close up my jump ring. Nice little girl. So there she is. Cute. Yeah, there she is. She's all ready to go out on the town, but we're not finished. Let's do a little bit more here. I told you about the marigolds. Get this straight. So before I go grab the marigold, let's fix her little dress up because it's a little uneven. That's why I said you could get it as straight as you can, and then we'll correct the rest of it later. So I'm going to cut some of this bottom off so that it's even. Straighten out there. Let's just cut that down. Move that out of the way. And there's my little lady. She looks absolutely lovely. She really does. But I want to give her miracles. I think she needs her flowers. So I've got some beautiful orange and yellow seed beads and some crystals, and I'm going to make her a little bouquet to hold on to. So that's where my little head pins come in. So I've got these little head pins, and you can line these up any way you want. I'm just going to put um, one of my little yellow seed beads on and a crystal and another seed bead. And then I'm going to make a loop. I'm just going to make a simple loop. So what I'm going to do is bend my wire to the side, cut off my little pin down to about 1/2 inch. That's all I need. And then make a simple loop. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down. I'm going to just right at the tip of my wire, I'm going to slide it in between the pliers, make sure none of the wire is sticking out. And then I'm going to rotate my plier hand and keep turning until I have a loop. And I just want to make sure that the tip is touching the rest of the wire. You want a full circle there. Here we go. So I've got my little loop. And then let's grab a couple more of these guys, these pretty beads. Orange one this time. And again, you can string it any way you want. You don't have to do 3. You can do 2. If you want to, you can just put one bead on. It's entirely up to you how you thread them on. Okay, I'm going to bend the wire over to the side again. I'm going to cut off the tail, cut it down to about 1/2 inch. And notice how I hold on to the end. If I don't hold on to that tail, this is going to go flying across the room like a projectile. And then I have to go search for it. And I really, really don't want to have to do that. So let's cut that off. And this is a very long head pin. So hopefully I can do something with that. As a matter of fact, I think I might show you something. But go ahead and make my loop before I get off on a tangent and do something else. Again, I'm going to rotate my plier hand while I'm holding my beads steady. And just rotate until I have, oh, I am off camera. Sorry. I'm going to be doing it again, so don't yell at me. And make sure that tip touches the rest of the wire so that my loop is completely closed. There we go. And let's do that one more time. What I was going to say is, I think I have enough left here that I don't want to waste it. So what do I do when I just have a strand of wire like this that I don't want to waste? Let's make my own head pin out of it. So this is about 1.5 inches, maybe a little more. About 1.75 inches. So I'm going to make a little infinity loop that I can use so that I don't waste this wire. So what I'm going to do is right here at the tip of my pliers, I'm going to slide my wire in, the tip of my wire in between the tip of my pliers. And let me get over here where the camera is so that you can see what I'm doing. So the tip of my wire is right there in between the tip of my pliers. And now I'm going to make another loop just like I did with the beads on just now. So I'm just going to make a little loop. Just keep rotating until my tip of my wire is touching the rest of my wire. I don't want it to overlap. I just want it to be right there, touching the back of my wire. Like so. Then I'm going to go in right beside that loop, again with the tip of my pliers, right beside it, just like that. There. And I'm going to make another loop. So I'm going to rotate and keep rotating right beside that other loop until I have an infinity symbol. There. Let's make sure that's flat. There's my little infinity symbol, and I can use that for a head pin. So let's grab a couple more of these beads. This is another shade of orange. I'm going to slide one of those on and slide one of these guys on. And again, you do not have to use 3. You can use 2 if you want to stop there. Since I've got a little extra on the bottom, I could stop, or I could continue and do my 3 beads. Just like that. So I've got my little head pin. Yay! So now I'm going to make a loop, and because I have an actual something that I want people to see, this little decoration, I'm going to bend my wire front to back. This is the front and the back. So I'm going to bend it like that. So if I turn it to the side, this is the side, this is the front, and the wire is bent towards the front. Okay, I'm going to snip that down to 1/2 inch, just like I did with the other ones. This tail is very short, so I'm going to bring in my little spool so I don't have to try and hold on to it. Hold my other beads, snip that off, and let that drop right down in there. Control the cut. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about 1/4 of the way. I don't think I said that before. It doesn't need to be a huge loop. I'm just sliding it down about 1/4 of the way down my pliers to make a small loop. And then I'm going to rotate until I have a circle with the tip touching the rest of my wire. So there we go. Yeah, there's my little bouquet that I'm going to give her. So the easiest way I know of to put this on without having to open each one of these is to just reopen my jump ring. Again, I'm going to twist it and then slide each one of these on. Just slide the loop over the jump ring. Okay. And slide the loop on my jump ring. And close the jump ring up. Just twist it closed. There we go. And now she is ready to party. She's going to an after party in the afterlife. There she is. She's ready to go. Single and she's ready to mingle. I don't know why I'm saying so many silly things today, but there she is. Complete with her marigold bouquet. Isn't that cute? Okay, let's put her on a display so you can see her in all her glory. Get over there. Somebody said, the little chain looks like her little skeleton arms. I said, yeah, that's the whole point. Isn't she cute? Anyway, let me go ahead and put her on the display so you can actually see her. Hold on just 1 second. There she is. Isn't she cute? I love it. This is the third one I've made. I'm going to show you pictures of all of them. But isn't that adorable? I just love it. I love her little dress. I love her little bouquet of flowers or her little flower purse, however you want to term it. Ah, that is so adorable. Anyway, just wanted to do something that was fun for the occasion. And this is it. So I hope you like this. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that you'll do it because it is so much fun. Anyway, so you can hang this on any cord or chain that you like. I'm just doing the pendant, and those of you who get kits will get what you need for the pendant itself. Then you'll need to have your own chain or your own cord to put it on. You can also make earrings out of this. So cute. So it just depends on what you want to do with it. It's very versatile. She is ready to go out to play. So anyway, That's our program for today. I hope that you liked it. I hope you have a great Day of the Dead celebration if you celebrate it. And I hope that you'll get in touch with me and let me know what you thought about this. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can contact me at jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can leave comments and pictures, please. Pictures, I love them, on the library Facebook page. That's facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's spelled DeKalb Library. Or you can leave comments only on the library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. For the YouTube page, you need to spell out the whole thing. DeKalbCountyblicLibray. And I hope to hear from you and find out where you are sending me messages from. Your city, your state, your town, your country. Love to hear it and love to hear from you. So until next time, have a great week, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you later. Bye bye.